That's just someone that's anxious, wants to get in there already, wants to do it. So, it's all cool. It's like Mike Tyson's favorite words. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Shakur Stevenson has been called a ghost, a magician, and the most avoided man in boxing. But as he steps up to 140 pounds to face Teofimo Lopez at Madison Square Garden, most experts are picking the Sugar era to continue, but a few believe the Takeover is about to stage its most violent return yet. When you talk about Shakur, you're talking about a defensive puzzle that has remained unsolved for 24 professional fights.
He finally did what people wanted, this young, talented, brilliant defensive fighter, brilliant guy at control and range, Olympic silver medalist, quick hands, technically solid. He finally satisfied the critics, and he mixed offense with the defense. He sat down, and instead of moving all the time and punching on the move or on the draw back off traps, you come in 5 inches, he goes back 7, and he counters the crap out of you. He stood his ground, and he punched. And he still got the better of it with the sweet science, being defensively responsible, but without having to be less entertaining. He was more entertaining. He satisfied people. He made people, they said, that's what we wanted in Shakur. And they got it.
But while the world sees a technical masterpiece, Teddy Atlas sees a specific physical advantage that could turn the tide. Atlas points out that Teofimo Lopez isn't just another body in the ring. He possesses a quick-twitch athletic explosion that matches Shakur's own speed. It's the first time Shakur won't have a significant athletic lead over his opponent.
Now he's a big favorite, or a good favorite. You know the line's better than me, but he's a good favorite.
3-1, over 3-1 favorite, Shakur.
He's a big favorite. It starts for me with Teofimo, where it starts is, where is he mentally? He's up and down. His father, the whole thing, his father's been with him the whole career. Listen, love him, hate him. His father has been part of getting him to these world titles. He's been part of it. Whatever. He has been up and down mentally. Where's he going to be? If he's right, if he's stable, if he's in a good place, he seemed to be in a very good place when he fought Lomachenko. If he's in a good place, I think this could be the first time that Shakur Stevenson has somebody who can match him with athletic ability. Pure ability, pure speed, quickness, quick twitch, athletic ability that can match him and could actually turn the tables in a way where he could force Shakur out of his comfort zone to maybe do some things, say, he doesn't want to do, that he's not as comfortable doing, initiating in certain spots, that I think Teofimo has the speed, the legs, the quickness, and he's got pop too with it, where he could possibly, I know this sounds ridiculous, but he could possibly match, and maybe even he would have to outmatch him to win. He'd have to be that good, but maybe match Shakur boxing and pull off what would be an upset.
Even though Shakur's mentor or friend Terrence Crawford might not agree, he acknowledges Teofimo's skills, but he believes that Shakur is a different fighter.
Teofimo is a good fighter. He's very talented. He's very athletic. He's always rose to the occasion in these big moments like this, but Shakur is just on a whole nother level, and this Saturday he's going to prove it. So I think he's going to do a little bit of everything. I think we're going to see the best Shakur Stevenson come Saturday, and I just feel like, it's going to be too much.
But Teofimo's done well against southpaws. Josh Taylor, Lomachenko, we got these southpaw here. You're a southpaw as well. Do you think Teofimo just has something that other fighters don't have against left-handers, or just think that Shakur's different level of a sniper of a southpaw?
Well, it's a little bit of both. You know, Teofimo has done real well against southpaws, but Shakur have done real well against orthodox fighters. Shakur is not the average southpaw that Teofimo has been fighting. You know, so that's why I say Shakur is levels above those fighters that he's been fighting lately.
And that's the reason he's a favorite coming into this fight.
But Atlas didn't stop at just speed. In his latest breakdown, he threw a curveball that had boxing gyms buzzing, the bully factor. While Shakur is moving up to 140 pounds for the first time, Teofimo is a natural, thick-set super lightweight who has spent years acclimating to the power of the division. Atlas believes Teo has the physical strength to literally bully the smaller man, forcing Shakur out of his comfort zone and making him do things he doesn't want to do. In a sport of inches, that extra 10 pounds of muscle might be the ultimate equalizer.
I think it's going to be a very, very, very interesting fight with a lot of X factors, a lot of intangibles, a lot of stuff floating around mentally, everything. I think it could be an intriguing fight. I don't know if it'll be a good fight. I don't know if it'll be a scintillating fight. I don't know about that. But I do think it could be interesting.
Even though some analysts believe that Shakur appears to be bigger than Teofimo in the most recent press conference clips before the fight night.
Is Shakur Stevenson bigger than Teofimo Lopez? Dude, look at Shakur Stevenson. Listen, behind the scenes, I'm looking at this man, right? Personally, face to face, I'm looking at him. And I saw Teofimo Lopez. He came in like maybe 45 minutes to an hour later or something like that. So I was able to have a point of reference and kind of compare them to. I'm not sure how they're going to be looking, because I know they're still kind of making weight, right? For the weigh-in on Friday. But I had a point of reference, and I'm looking at Shakur Stevenson. Yo, man, he looks massive. 140 looks good on Shakur. Like, I know Shakur say he may go back down to 135, but I don't know, man, because not only did he look massive, but his height. Like, when Teo came in, I'm like, wait a second. Shakur may be even slightly taller, and you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of me saying constantly, time and time again, that Saul Canelo Alvarez was far bigger than Terence Crawford because of the weight class difference. But then when Terence Crawford walked up to that guy in the ring, and I looked at him on fight night, I was like, well, I'll be damned. I was wondering, forget in the weigh-in and all that. On fight night, I said, wow. The difference in this, though, is that Saul Canelo Alvarez isn't really considered an athletic fighter, okay? Which, if you want to use the point of reference of Madrimov, see, that was the whole thing. Like, Terence Bud Crawford went up to 154. He did knock out Madrimov. It was a tough fight for him. But then he goes up to 168, and he controls Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is a greater fighter than Madrimov. So, this reminds me of the size thing comparison to Terence Crawford, Saul Canelo Alvarez. When you find out that Terence Crawford is far bigger than you think, a lot of you guys knew that, though. I remember the War Room telling me in the comments. And how Shakur Stevenson, man, that's a big kid when you see him standing next to Teofimo Lopez.
The build-up to this fight hasn't just been about physics. It's been about psychology. Teofimo Lopez is one of the most polarizing figures in the sport, often swinging between brilliance and what Shakur calls pure delusion. During their recent press face-offs, Teofimo looked Shakur in the eyes and promised to make him quit in front of his own fans. Shakur, never one to be rattled, laughed it off, claiming Teo is crazy and that his mental state is his biggest weakness.
I think he's nervous and he's giving off energy as if he's trying to dilute his brain into believing things that are basically not going to happen. I just don't understand how he can dilute his brain into believing that when he didn't make Steve Claggett, that's his name, Steve Claggett, quit He didn't make him quit. He didn't make George Kambosos quit. He did not make Lomachenko quit. So what in the world makes him think that he's going to make me quit?
Just all of it, his persona, the way he carries himself, the way he says he's going to beat my ass right here, right now if he wanted to. And all I'm thinking about is that time when he punched a civilian at a nightclub in the parking lot, and then when he actually swung and hit a woman at the same time. Every time he tells me he's gonna beat my ass, he beat it right there. That's what comes back to my mind is that video. So, you know, that's evil though. That's really evil. This is professional boxing. This ain't street fights. These ain't thug life. This ain't none of that. This is boxing, guys. Let's keep it professional.
The tension is thick enough to cut, with many wondering if Teo's erratic energy is a sign of a breakdown or a breakthrough.
Bet that you can't.
No, say it.
I bet that your mouth can fit all through my dick.
I would smack the shit out of you, nigga. I'd smack the shit out of your bitch ass. What you just say? Hey.
You're gonna feel like a foot in your mouth. You're gonna feel like a foot in your mouth. You're gonna feel like a foot in your mouth.
Come on, man. You know.
Hey, to all y'all, when does everybody consider leaving?
I would smack the shit out of your
Leaving
bitch
these
ass,
nuts
boy.
in your mouth.
Hey, I would smack the shit out of you.
Even the legends of the game are split on how this ends. Oscar de la Hoya, who knows a thing or two about mega fights at the Garden, admits that Shakur's style is almost impossible to break. It's a surgical, risk-averse approach that drains the soul out of his opponents. However, De La Hoya also noted that if there is a single fighter on the planet with the explosive X factor to shatter that rhythm, it's Teofimo. According to Oscar, Teo doesn't need to win every round. He just needs one split second where his athleticism overcomes Shakur's IQ. Andre Rozier has his own opinions on how Teofimo can beat Shakur.
What do you think about Shakur and Teo? What kind of fighter we have?
It's gonna be a great fight.
What's the most compelling part of the matchup for those two guys?
That's gonna be a great. You know what? Teo's a hell of a fighter. I love Teo. But I love Shakur. His style is almost impossible to break. But if there's a fighter who can break it, it's Teo. But it's gonna be a hell of a fight because I love Shakur because he doesn't run. He's right there in front of you. So it's up to Teo to do something, but I think it's gonna be a great fight. Great fight for boxing.
Who's the most?
Well, the thing you have to remember about defensive fighters is that they are looking to set up a counter. That's what most defensive fighters do anyway. And he can't wait for those things to happen. He has to be busy and he has to be tenacious. That's how he can stay ahead of the defense. Because if you make me miss once, you make me miss twice if I throw 5 more. It's very difficult to make me miss 8 punches.
Definitely.
So you have to stay busy and you have to stay on your man. You have to give him no chance to breathe.
And no time to think as well, right?
Exactly, and no time to, to correlate what you might do next. So we don't want that to happen. You have to stay ahead of that game.
While De La Hoya focuses on the boom, Timothy Bradley is focused on the beat. Bradley has been vocal about the blueprint to beating Shakur, which involves more than just swinging for the fences. He argues that Teofimo must break the rhythm, disrupting the hypnotic pace Shakur sets by attacking the body and using unorthodox angles. Bradley's analysis suggests that if Teo fights a traditional boxing match, he loses 12-0. To win, he has to turn the ring into a chaotic environment where Shakur's computer-like brain can't process the data fast enough.
Well, Teofimo Lopez, from a degree, he does have a high boxing IQ as well. He does. I mean, he was able to deal with Lomachenko. He was able to deal with Taylor and other guys. You know, he does possess a high boxing IQ. He has that explosiveness or that elite athleticism, which allows him to do things inside the ring that other fighters can't do. So he can have that unpredictability, you know, in a part of his game. So he can create as he goes. Fighters like that, typically, from my perspective and my vantage point, yeah, they can be great and spontaneous and and create things. And like he goes into this like Gordo mode to where he gets your timing down, and and he gets in his rhythm and he starts moving and throwing punches at odd angles and stuff. And that may affect those guys that he goes Gordo against, but it's a little bit harder to do against a guy so technically sound, and a guy like Shakur who's defensively sound as well, who has great eyes, and he'll see a lot of that stuff coming and anticipate a lot of that movement and make sure any of those punches that he's at least attempting to throw is not going to land. So then that becomes a bit frustrating for Teo, because he's not the most technically sound fighter out there. He does have some defensive lapses. I see him get a little lackadaisical with his footwork at times. I see him walking inside the ring at times. I've also seen Shakur also do that sometimes as well, especially when he has his man hurt, he'll walk inside the ring. But, for the most part, I see Teo, where he's going to struggle is just from the technical aspect. He doesn't always bring his hands back to his face. He shoots his jab, he brings it back low. And I know some of you can be like, well, I mean, yeah, he does that, Tim, but he can also, convert it, from a jab down low and, having to bring his hand back low. And he has the ability to sweep up with a left hook. Yes, he does have that ability. But again, that's against these other guys that he's faced. He's facing a guy with a high boxing IQ, one of the best in the sport. And he's going to anticipate a lot of that stuff and a lot of the movements that Teofimo Lopez has. So I would say it might take Shakur maybe 4 to 5 rounds to really start to get Teo's rhythm down. Teo could very well start off and start sweeping rounds, just with his aggression and pressure. Not sure what his game plan is, but I'm just saying, he can point fight. He is pretty elusive, and, he'll look for the openings and strike. And if Shakur can't hit him at that time,
However, there's a darker side to the Teofimo narrative that keeps analysts like Andre Ward cautious. We've all seen the mental roller coaster Teo rides, the public retirements, the emotional post-fight interviews, and the volatile relationship with his father. Rumors about his mental health and focus have circulated since his loss to George Kambosos Jr. Critics argue that against a disciplined shark like Shakur, any mental lapse or emotional explosion from Teo will be exploited instantly. Is he coming in as the man who beat Lomachenko, or the man who asked the world, "Do I still got it?"
Super fight, and you know what? And rightly so, Shakur Stevenson might start this fight an odds-on favourite, because he's Shakur Stevenson, the next Pernell Whitaker, the southpaw, the slick southpaw. But I've studied him, and you know what he does really badly, just in my opinion. Yep. Shakur Stevenson, he likes to sit in the pocket, right, and he goes back to the rope, sticks his hands up, and he tries to pot shot and do the shoulder roll, and waits for you and throws an uppercut or a straight left. You can't do that with Lopez. You can't back off on him. That's my point I'm trying to say.
Lopez is trying to talk him into a tear-up. I think he's saying how he's acting before he needs a tear-up.
Yeah, and Lopez has already the blueprint's been laid, because he beat the great Lomachenko, another great southpaw. He's beating him, so he goes into this fight absolutely fearless. And
Despite the questions, Teofimo's track record as a giant slayer is undeniable. He thrived when the world called him an underdog against Vasily Lomachenko, and he silenced the doubters again when he dismantled Josh Taylor. He seems to feed on the disrespect. Shakur might be the technical favorite, but Teo has spent his entire career proving that the takeover isn't just a catchphrase, it's a warning. He's the ultimate disruptor in an era of perfection.
This is a super fight, isn't it?
It is a super fight, and you know what? And rightly so, Shakur Stevenson might start this fight an odds-on favourite, because he's Shakur Stevenson, the next Pernell Whitaker, the southpaw, the slick southpaw. But I've studied him, and you know what he does really badly, just in my opinion. Yep. Shakur Stevenson, he likes to sit in the pocket, right, and he goes back to the rope, sticks his hands up, and he tries to pot shot and do the shoulder roll, and waits for you and throws an uppercut or a straight left. You can't do that with Lopez. You can't back off on him. That's my point I'm trying to say.
Lopez is trying to talk him into a tear-up. I think he's saying how he's acting before he needs a tear-up.
Yeah, and Lopez has already the blueprint's been laid, because he beat the great Lomachenko, another great southpaw. He's beating him, so he goes into this fight absolutely fearless. And he's fearless. As
we head into this weekend at Madison Square Garden, the stakes couldn't be higher. With legends like Terrence Crawford moving toward the exit door of the sport, the winner of this fight doesn't just walk away with the WBO belt. They walk away as the undisputed face of American boxing. Will Shakur Stevenson's precision turn the takeover into a shutdown? Or will Teofimo Lopez prove once again that he is the only man capable of catching a ghost?
You never know how good somebody actually is until you get in the ring, or how bad they actually is until you get in the ring with them. So come fight night, we'll figure out whether he's better than Zepeda or more of a challenge than Zepeda. I know Zepeda's style.
Don't try me.
Nah, I'm just saying, bro, like, you ain't fight a fighter with that kind of style yet to know, like, whether he's, that's all I'm saying.
Don't try me.
You bring a different style to the table, brother. I want to prove how great I am. Like, I want the world to see the greatness within my skill set, the boxer that I am. Like, after we get out the ring, I want everybody to be talking about that. Like, yeah, I'm that guy.
You're not gonna get that all the time. If you go for people's expectations, if you go for people's expectations on what you're gonna get after that, you're gonna always be disappointed.
So that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video.